Conspiracy theorists have not been in short supply since the outbreak of the coronavirus, and many of them have taken to social media to claim that this is a weapon and creating all kinds of absurd explanations or rationalizations would be a better word to describe them in their own head. However, previously, a spokesman for the Chinese Foreign Ministry suggested that the United States had actually created this virus and then released it during an exercise, and is actually responsible for the outbreak in the city of Wuhan, but he didn't provide any solid evidence for that accusation. In a series of Twitter posts, Zhao Lijian, a Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman, suggested that the U.S. Army could have brought the coronavirus to the city of Wuhan in China's Hubei province, the epicenter of the pandemic. The spokesman referred to a video with the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention Director Robert Redfield in which he admits some of the American patients who appeared to have died from influenza leaders showed positive results for the coronavirus.
The University of Washington has developed their own tests.
Were those test kits available last Friday?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And without test kits, is it possible that those that have been susceptible to influenza might have been miscategorized as to what they actually had, that it's quite possible that they actually had COVID-19?
The standard practice is the first thing you do is test for influenza. So if they had influenza, they would be positive for
But only if they were tested. So if they weren't tested, we don't know what they had.
Correct.
Okay. And if somebody dies from influenza, are we doing post-mortem testing to see whether it was influenza or whether it was COVID-19?
There is a surveillance system of death from pneumonia that the CDC has. It's not in every city, every state, every hospital.
So we could have people in the United States dying for what appears to be influenza when in fact it could be the coronavirus or COVID-19.
Some cases have been actually diagnosed that way in the United States today.
Thank you.
Now, this is a very serious accusation. May or may not be true. But regardless of whether or not it's true, it's a very serious accusation, and extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. So the media went to the ministry and asked for an official position on the matter. Is this the stance of the Chinese Foreign Ministry that the United States created this and deliberately infected China with it? Well, they weren't forthcoming with any answer. In fact, they didn't give any answer at all. They remained rather mum on the whole thing. So they haven't explicitly said no, and they haven't explicitly said yes. Another Chinese foreign minister spokesman, Gang Xuan, didn't give a definitive answer either. Instead, he stated different opinions exist within the international community regarding whether or not and where exactly the COVID-19 virus actually came from. Now, it's interesting because at the same time, Iran has suggested the same thing, that the U.S. could be the prime culprit behind the COVID-2019 outbreak that hit China and Iran. This accusation was made by the head of the Revolutionary Guards. He claimed threatening the virus will eventually be turned against those. He said that there's a threat in doing that eventually the virus will turn against those who actually created it. It is possible that this virus is a product of a biological attack by America, which initially spread to China and then to Iran and the rest of the world. As I said previously, this is a very significant accusation to make, and that an extraordinary claim like this requires extraordinary evidence. There's been no shortage of conspiracy theorists. Essentially, nobody's just running around believing that this is the kind of thing that the government would do because government naturally evil, and all kinds of rationalizations in their mind, blaming various marginalized groups or groups that are perceived to have control over the media or over the world or something like that. However, it's very important to keep in mind that something like this really does need to be backed up with evidence, because it is an extraordinary claim. It may be true, and more likely it is not true. But what's important is to keep one's head calm and stick to the facts. Now, these particular individuals probably do believe what they're saying, and they believe that the United States would do that to them, because the United States does have a history of using chemical and biological weapons against countries. One of those, most notably, was the DPRK. A simple first-page Google search will reveal all the incidents in which the United States has used chemical or biological weapons on other countries. So it is not unheard of for this kind of thing to happen. However, it is necessary to prove an accusation like this. And while this may be the personal opinion of people within at least these two governments, we, the public, who are supposed to absorb this information ourselves, it's very important that we keep this in mind and that we try to keep a calm head and not let individual prejudices determine our view towards reality, whether that be a natural distaste for U.S. imperialism or a conspiratorial thinking towards secret societies or things like that. We should always fundamentally rely on science and good judgment.
Thank you for watching. If you like this program, then please head over to my Patreon page and set up a monthly donation. It's your donations that keep this program running. Also, if you would like, please rate, comment, subscribe, and share in various social media.